Ladies and gentlemen, this story is a bit close to my heart for a couple of reasons. First of all, I actually looked up a story, which is this one, of this young, beautiful, smiling little 13-year-old girl right here. And I actually found a second story that was so similar to this one, I actually got confused which one was which, and I had to kind of look through them to make sure that they weren't the exact same story. And indeed, it's two different stories, but we're going to focus on this one. And a lot of you guys actually know that I am a father. I am a father to a young 13-year-old girl. Isn't that something? So for people who might not understand why I do what I do and why I say the things that I say and why I'm trying to encourage us to make a difference in this world, in our communities, in our households, how we procreate, us being mothers and fathers to our children. Don't spank and hit your children. Don't disrespect them. Give them respect. Give them a chance. Give them a platform. Yes. It's because that's exactly what I'm doing for my child. And I believe not only the fact that I used to be a counselor, I actually got a chance to revisit the place that I was a counselor, and shout out to Kennecook Camps. I got a chance to go there over the summer with a group of kids that we were able to take to camp. And I got a chance to interact with those same type of kids, not only when I was being a camper, but as a kind of like a parent counselor. So I got a chance to be around a lot of kids, and I believe that my methods work because I've seen them work, over the past 20 years. Long time. Since I was 19 years old. So probably a little longer than that. Yeah, actually, right at about 20 years. So I'm trying to give people not only some real life information and stuff that I've learned not only from biblical principles, but really just from common sense things that make sense if you utilize them. This beautiful baby girl is a victim, another victim. This girl, let me just tell you the story because it's really messed up. The body of this identified girl, at the time she was unidentified, this baby was shot in the face. And I call her baby. I know she's 13 years old. She's a teenager, but I still call my daughter my baby. So in this case, I'm going to call her a baby, okay? She was shot in the face and discovered in a Philadelphia apartment on April the 18th. And she has been identified as 12-year-old Alezuana Carter. Let me make sure I got that right. Alezuana. Alezuana Carter. Known to the family and friends as Libby, and she vanished on October the 20th. Now, in April, police found the body of an identified young girl shot in the mouth in an apartment less than 20 miles away from where Libby was last seen. They had been called to the scene by someone who heard gunshots. Initially, the cops say that the body belonged to an identified 20-year-old woman, but on Wednesday, they told Libby's family that it was actually her. So somehow they must have thought that she was older than what she actually was. Now, it's unclear how they made this identification. Now, they did not state whether or not I missed the part. Hold on just a second. I missed the part. Actually, no, I didn't. There's a part that they missed actually in this article because I actually know this part. What it was this girl was having some family issues between, I guess, her biological parents, and then somehow she ended up in a secondary caretaker's possession. I don't know whether it was a foster parent, if they legally adopted her. I don't know that. But all I know is that they referred to her as a runaway. She had run away multiple times, and in this time, she didn't make it back home. They did not state whether or not she had run away this time or had been taken by somebody. After the shooting, they released surveillance footage of a suspect, and it's actually very hard to see it. Matter of fact, let me see if I can pull the picture real quick. Let me see if I can pull this up. And while you guys are listening to the story, if you would, do me a favor and please click that thumbs up, because what that does is it actually helps share this video and let more people know that we're live talking about this story. because we want to be able to share the story of this baby, and maybe we can actually save some lives. Let me see if I can save this and pull this back up. Let me see if y'all can see this. This is very hard to see. Now, the individual that you see on my screen is who they actually captured. We're going to get to his name here in just a moment. Somehow, this surveillance footage made it possible for them to identify the individual that I just showed you on my screen. Now, how they put this together, these two photos together, is beyond me, plus the video. Have no idea, but I'm going to have to assume that somebody saw something and said something and actually helped promote getting this individual captured. Because it took a while, but it's better late than never, especially in this case. It's unclear who the person was in relation to Libby or why police thought that she was with them. This is a child that's walking around in the street. We don't know what happened, but we're going to find out, said her aunt at the time. The girl's family held a vigil, which you guys just saw. Let me go back. This is one of the vigil that they had in South Philadelphia on Wednesday after being notified of her death. Her mother, by the name of Trish, let me see if I can get mom up here. This is the little girl's mom. Trish said that she was a strong girl, but she didn't deserve this, not at all. We will get back to the mom here momentarily because I got some things to say that might not sit well with some of y'all's sensibilities. Some of y'all should know that you don't come here for the news. You come here to hear what my opinion is about the things that are happening in our news, in our communities, right? Everybody here should understand that. A North Philadelphia man has been charged with the killings of the 13-year-old girl who went missing in November. Let me see if I can get his face back up here. That fool that you see right there on my screen, who looks as crazy as the day is long, his name is Luis Rodriguez. Luis Rodriguez is 25 years old of Frankford, and he's been charged with murder and related crimes in the death of Alezuana Carter, who was found dead in April in an apartment on the 1500 block of Overington Street near the Frankford Transportation Center. Police arrested Rodriguez on Friday, but did not announce it until Monday, so that was pretty recent. So Carter's great-grandfather, William Orr, said on Monday that he has not heard that an arrest had been made, but he's glad to hear about it. And he's 88 years old. I don't know why they needed to put his age out there, but they did. But Carter, whose relatives and friends called her Libby, reported her missing November of last year and was last seen the morning of October the 12th near her family's Southwest Philadelphia home. On April the 18th, after receiving a call about a shooting in the 1500 block of Overington, officers found Carter in a first-floor apartment. She had been shot in the mouth. Can we take a pause right there? We'll get to the mom. We'll get to the balloons. We'll get to the motive. Let's talk about the motive right now. First and foremost, you have to ask yourself, why was this 13-year-old girl running away from home? Believe it or not, that's not such a normal thing. That's not normal for a 13-year-old girl to be running away from home. And I'm telling you, I am raising a 13-year-old girl, and I'm going to say this with as much respect as I can. Don't get mad at what I'm about to say, but that's usually something that is provoked. I'm sorry, but y'all know I am here to defend children. I am not here to condemn children. Does everybody understand that? Children who run away are usually provoked into running away. There is something that is going on that's not right. There's something that's going on that the parents are doing that's causing this. Hopefully everybody understands where I'm coming from. Because I believe as a parent, if my child is failing, it's my fault. I don't point the finger at my child. I believe there's something I can do better as a parent. There's something more that I can give my daughter, or there's something different that I could do as a father. Everybody understand? This is what parenting does. What parenting does is it puts you in the position to be held accountable. Therefore, your children can be protected. If your children feel neglected, not protected, then yes, they will lash out. And I think that is proper, because all children are doing is showing you, hey, there's something big that you're missing. This is why it's so important to get to know your children. This is why it's so important for us to have nuclear families. What is a nuclear family? Biological mother, biological father in the same household, underneath the same roof, raising the children. It's not meant for us to have children outside of wedlock. It's not meant for us to have a bunch of reckless, unprotected STD sex, It is not meant for us to have multiple babies by multiple men, and for men to have multiple children by multiple women. That's not the way this is supposed to work. You can point to other points in time in history, but the point in time in history I like to point to is around the 40s, 50s, 60s. Not only with the black community, but communities in general believed in this social construct called marriage, and I believe that children thrived much more in marriages. I'm telling y'all, look at the difference between how children are being raised now compared to what they were then. That dynamic has been crushed. And I think that if we went back to those principles, it would do better for us as a society. Regardless of whether you guys believe it or not, statistics actually point toward that. Okay? I believe that this girl became a runaway because she had bad parents. Does that shock you? Does that make you want to ball up your panties and throw it away? Does that make you want to go burn a bra? I don't know. But to me, it seems like it's common sense. Her mother and father clearly failed her. Then she ended up in a home which is not where she wanted to be. And the reason that I believe that her caretaker in the home that she was in failed her is because clearly she didn't want to be there. Which means that her family should not have failed her in the first place. We don't go get mad at CPS. We don't go get mad at the foster parents. We don't get mad if something happens to the kids when they end up in the street with no help and they all alone and they end up in some thug, some gangster, some pimp, end up in their possession. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? We don't get mad at that point. We should get mad when the failure starts at home. We're talking about fixing the source of the problem. Everybody asks, how does my podcast help anybody? Because what we're trying to do is educate and teach. We're using these stories as examples. There is nothing we can do to bring this 13-year-old baby back from a bullet in the mouth. You'd have to ask yourself, why would they do that to her? Why would that individual man do that to her? It's a number of things. Do y'all want me to run through the scenario? I'm sure y'all don't want me to do that. I'm sure y'all don't want me to talk about the fact that this man could have been, raping this beautiful 13-year-old baby because he felt like he wanted to exert his force on her. Maybe try to pimp her out against her will, and she doesn't like to be forced to do things that she don't want to do, which is probably why she ended up as a runaway in the first place. The fact that she could have been kidnapped to be sold off, and she decided, you know what, I'm not going to stand for this. I'm going to fight back. And that fool probably felt like, well, now this is a waste of my time. I don't want to get in no trouble. So the best thing for me to do is to get rid of my quote unquote problem and put an end to this little girl's life. That fool, that thug, that criminal, that idiot. Matter of fact, while I'm calling him a thug, he was a thug prior to this incident. Let me explain why. At the time of his arrest, let's go back to his ugly, busted face. Let's go back to him. Let's go back to little ugly man. At the time of his arrest, Rodriguez was awaiting trial for aggravated assault and drug crimes. That's according to court records, not according to my personal words. So don't get mad talking about, yous don't know what you talking about, DJ Just J. Where you get your information from? You're going to get mad at me? You might as well get mad at the courts, because that's the same freaking information that they're going to use against him in court. So why get mad about the fact that I bring up what they're going to use against him in court? It says that he's a thug, right? Aggravated assault and drug crimes? Yeah, that sounds like a thug to me, especially when you are abusing children. And I don't even want to talk about what else they probably did to that baby girl, huh? Let's move on past that. He also has a second drug case that is pending, according to court records. A second one. Libby Carter's death is part of a disturbing trend of juveniles falling victim to the city's surging thugs with gun violence. I'm not going to call it gun violence anymore, and y'all should stop calling it gun violence too. This is where we can make a change. Start putting the onus on the people who are out here effing up. I got to clean my language up. The ones who are out here messing up. Put the onus back on the thugs and the criminals and call it thugs with gun violence. Because the guns themselves are inanimate objects. The guns don't do a damn thing until you pick them up and make them do something. They are merely tools. They want to villainize guns, but they don't want to villainize thugs. They want to defund police, but they don't want to defund thugs. Right? Isn't that something? Isn't that something? Let me go ahead and skip the rest of those silly statistics. And let me give you guys the fair usage. Let's get it. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. It's gun violence. It's gun violence. The guns, the guns. It's thugs with gun violence. Get it right. Let's get it.
Philadelphia police charging this man, 25-year-old Luis Rodriguez, in the murder of a 13-year-old girl. Police say Alezuana Carter was shot in an apartment on Overington Street back in April. Carter was missing for 6 months before she was found shot to death. Police say Rodriguez was arrested Friday, right now being charged with murder and other related offenses.
And an arrest in the murder of a missing 13-year-old girl who was found dead in a Frankford apartment. Police say Alezuana Libby Carter was reported missing back in November of 2020 after last being seen on October 12th. On October the 18th, 2021, police found her dead from a gunshot wound. This was on Overington Street. It's at an apartment building there. They have not yet.
And these balloons, man. We need more candle lit vigils, not balloons. That's just air litter. Matter of fact, did y'all know that they actually are getting ready to outlaw balloon releases? I'd like to take credit for that. Thank you very much. Let me take a bow. Thank you. Let me show you guys something real quick. Let me show you something. While we're talking about balloon releases, because I haven't showed y'all this yet. Real quick. We're going to take a pause for the cause. If y'all would, please click that thumbs up. Our goal is 600 thumbs up. If we can get there, that would be amazing if you guys would just click that thumbs up. It says Hawaii is now the 7th state to ban intentional release of balloons, sparing marine animals unnecessary suffering from ingesting or becoming entangled in balloon pieces. You're welcome. You're welcome. Everybody talk about what does the AFC do? AFC gets change out there in the world, right? Because we're going to continue to put this out there. Yes. There's no reason to continue to keep doing balloon releases because somebody died. You don't make your world worse. You don't kill animals. You don't pollute your environment just because somebody died. That's dumb. But it's the 7th state. Just want to throw that out there real quick for those who might not have known about these stupid balloon releases.
That identified the suspect.
Once again tonight, we see Philadelphians coming together, trying to come up with a strategy to put a trigger lock on the relentless gun violence terrorizing Philadelphia
Thugs with gun violence. It ain't gun violence.
Neighborhoods. Action News reporter Jacqueline Lee is live at police headquarters. But Jacqueline, so much to overcome before these efforts even begin to pay off, as demonstrated by some of the conversations you had tonight.
That's right, Jim. We've spoken with people all across Philadelphia today, and the one common denominator is that they all lost someone they loved to gun violence, and they expressed sheer frustration.
Lost somebody to thugs with guns.
As the number of homicides continue to tick up. Gunfire continues to ring out throughout Philadelphia at all hours, with the violence escalating in an already tense city. This afternoon, a 25-year-old man was shot 18 times on the 2600 block of North 23rd Street. He died at the hospital, and police have made no arrests.
There are so many unsolved murders here in Philadelphia.
Rosalind Pichardo held him.
Let's skip that. I don't know what they're talking about.
A young girl vanished, disappeared for 6 months when just days ago police confirmed she was found dead. And tonight her friends and family just want to know what happened. Here's Shawnette Wilson.
A vigil was held this evening on the same block where this young girl was murdered. Who did this? Why it took the family so long to be notified and so long for police to identify her body? All questions that still remain. Orange balloons released in memory of this 13-year-old girl who lost her life to gun violence. Alezuana Carter, known to family and friends as Libby, died after someone shot her in the face.
She was a strong girl, but she didn't deserve this.
Yo, this is the biological mother. I almost said, the biological mother, and she looks drunk as hell. I don't care what nobody talking about. She looked drunk. Come on, watch this. Look at this.
After someone shot her in the face.
She was a strong girl, but she didn't deserve this. Not at all.
Her mother.
If y'all smelled her breath, I bet you she probably got a fifth on her breath. The reason I'm not just being mean to the mom, she lost her baby. I want y'all to remember why. You have to ask yourself, why is DJ saying this? Because you have to remember this daughter clearly didn't want to be around her mother, and she kept running away from her mother. There had to have been a reason why she was running away from her mother. Everybody catch that? Before you go throwing tomatoes at me, I want y'all to remember that. The daughter ran away from her.
After someone shot her in the face.
She was a strong girl, but she didn't deserve this. Not at all.
Her mother, Tricia, spoke during a vigil this evening saying, quote, due to some situations, Libby wasn't able to be home, so she ran.
Due to some situations, see? You see how vague that is? Due to some situations. You see how vague that is? They know what the problem is, but they don't want to villainize the mom. But if you told us what the mom did, not only could she be held accountable for what she did, whether it be in public opinion, in the law, or really even more as a teaching tool to show people this is why you don't do these things. But you know, they'll continue to hide it because maybe they don't want us to change. Maybe the media doesn't want it. Maybe the parents don't want it. I don't know. I really don't know. Talking about due to situations. Listen to how silly that sounds. I promise y'all will never be able to watch the news the same after you watch my channel.
Spoke during a vigil this evening saying, quote, due to some situations, Libby wasn't able to be home, so she ran.
Don't try to keep her safe. Every day someone was looking for the shot. She was not alone.
Here's what police say happened. In November of last year, investigators announced that Libby was reported missing and that she was last seen the morning of October 12th near the 7100 block of Theodore Street in Southwest. Then, 6 months later, on April 18th, police found someone shot in the mouth in a first-floor apartment on the 1500 block of Overington Street in Frankford. At that time, they only referred to the victim as an unidentified female who died at the scene. It wasn't until this past Saturday, May 1st, that the person was identified as Libby, the missing teen. Her older cousin said tonight she was a good girl who liked doing TikTok and dancing.
We think, oh, because she was out in the street, she doing something bad. No, people just hang around the wrong group of people.
Police tell me she had run away several times from her parents and guardian care. The day after the murder, police...
Let's back that up and let's listen at this again.
And dancing.
We think, oh, because she was out in the street, she doing something bad. No, people just hang around the wrong group of people.
That right there, you can't excuse bad behavior. She said just because she was in the street don't mean she was doing anything wrong. Yeah, it actually does. You ran away from home. That's not the right thing to do unless you're trying to say that it's okay to run away from home. Children and 13-year-old girls should not be running the street. So yes, it is something wrong with that. Just because she was in the street don't mean she was doing something wrong. Yes, it does. What in the world?
Street, she doing something bad. No, people just hang around the wrong group of people.
Police tell me she had run away several times from her parents and guardian care. The day after the murder, police released this surveillance video showing someone they called a suspect. Her grieving father seen here talking to police during the vigil.
This is a child that's walking around in the streets. We don't know what happened, but we're going to find out.
Police did not have any additional information.
All right, now here's the video of the suspect. I want y'all to just watch this. It's only 2 minutes long. And y'all tell me if y'all can make any sense of this. This is the video that the Philadelphia Police Department released. It's silent, but watch it. Here we go. It says on 4/18/21 at approximately 10:56 p.m., since this is such an old story, police responded to the 1500 block of Overington Street and found a female victim suffering from a gunshot wound. The victim succumbed to her injuries. A possible offender was seen on video approaching the location just before the shooting and fleeing shortly after. The offender is described as wearing a red shirt over a black long sleeve hooded sweatshirt and red pants with white stripes down the legs. So let's take a look at this. Right there. Very hard to see. Tried to brighten it up a little bit. Well, we got to say thank goodness for these Ring cameras, these home surveillance cameras. Because if they didn't exist, it's a lot of stuff we wouldn't know about. Now watch this. Here we go. Y'all saw him run, right? Because that's what little punks do. They run. Because they don't want to face consequences.
Tonight, a neighborhood is remembering another young life lost to gun violence in the city. Family and friends
lost 2 thugs with gun violence.
And say that the 13-year-old girl was more than a statistic. Kimberly Davis is in Spring Garden with how they paid tribute to the teenager at a vigil tonight. Kimberly?
Jess, this is a case that has left the Kensington community with more questions than answers. But tonight was all about remembering that 13-year-old girl's life that was taken extremely too soon.
Justice need to be served. Don't nobody want to open their mouth and say anything. This is a kid. This not no grown up.
13-year-old Libby Carter's family described the teen as an all-around good person, someone who looked out for others, even at the young age of 13.
We always looked out for me, made sure I was straight, like it was nighttime, I ain't had nothing to eat, and she was right there bringing me Hot Pockets.
But Libby faced some challenges in life. According to police, she ran away from 2 foster care homes back in October and February. In April,
she was in 2 different foster homes, and if y'all are asking, was there a GoFundMe? Let me see. I don't quite remember. Let me see. I didn't find one for hers. If there is, y'all can post it in the chat. I didn't see a GoFundMe yet. She ran away from 2 foster homes.
In life. According to police, she ran away from 2 foster care homes back in October and February. In April, Libby disappeared. Turns out the teen had become a victim of gun violence on April 18th on the 1500 block of Overington Street. This is the man seen running away from the house moments after the shooting.
They think, oh, because she was out in the street, she doing something bad. No, people just hang around the wrong group of people.
In the streets, that's not normal behavior, and this is the type of thing. This is why certain people don't need to have a voice and have a microphone. You wouldn't tell your kid it's okay to hang out in the street, or maybe you would. Maybe you don't need to be a parent. Maybe you don't need to be a voice. Maybe you don't need to say anything. Sheesh, if you believe it's okay to hang out in the street and something's wrong with you. Knowing that Philly is considered to be a dangerous little bitty city anyway. I don't know what the crime rate is out there, but I hear it's pretty high. Am I wrong? Did I say something wrong? If I'm saying something wrong, let me know. Is it normal for you to have your children in the streets running away? Just because they ran away don't mean they was doing something bad. That is a bad action in itself. That makes no sense.
That's what happens in life, period. But she still...
That is not what happens in life. This dude is a dummy. An absolute dummy. With a microphone.
Not deserving.
Because Libby was in the custody of the Department of Human Services and was not at a foster...
Let's take a pause for the cause. I'm going to rewind this real quick. Let me say thank you to Illicit Deeds. Said Pennsylvania is #1 nationwide murder rate in 2021 as of this week. I dare you guys to fight with statistics. Illicit Deeds. Pennsylvania is #1 for the nationwide murder rate in 2021 as of this week. But it's okay for 13-year-old girls to be in the streets?
In life, period. But she still did not deserve it.
Because Libby was in the custody of the Department of Human Services and was not at a foster home, it took police 9 days to identify Libby after contacting her foster mom and biological mother. They identified the teen. Libby's biological mother spoke at Tuesday night's vigil.
The streets are not for y'all. They do not love y'all. Stay with your family. Have fun.
She look high as hell, man. Somebody let me know if y'all know who this mother is. If y'all live in Philly, if y'all know her, let me know if she does drugs. Because she looks like she does something. She looks like she's high or drunk.
Your family. Have fun. Go to school.
The family says closure will come when an arrest is made. But for now, they're holding on to the memories.
And this is the last video of this little girl. This is the last video of this baby. Beautiful little girl. Beautiful little girl.
Down here robbing.
Yay.
Money. Down here robbing.
Yay.
Money.
She seemed like an innocent kid, and I'm here to tell you guys, in my humble opinion, what I believe is I believe that she was probably going through some bull crap with her mom because her mom looked high. She was probably high while the daughter was at the house. She probably been high pretty much that whole girl's life. Never got her stuff together. Dad, who knows where the biological father was, you saw him do an interview that they didn't actually show on TV. Let me say that again. I looked for it. I couldn't find it. But they say that the biological father did an interview that they didn't show on TV. But you got these so-called family member activists talking about it's okay for kids to be in the street, but you show their interview talking about it's like there's nothing wrong with 13-year-old girls being in the street. You show that interview, but you wouldn't let us hear what the dad had to say. Y'all don't find that odd? He was on camera. You saw his face with the he had like a wrap across his face, kind of like a makeshift mask. But you didn't hear his interview. To this guy, I'm telling y'all, in my personal opinion, I'm not so sure that this is random. I think there's more to this story. That's what I honestly believe. I'm not so sure that this man was a complete stranger. Unless he quickly familiarized himself with this girl, or if he just flat out kidnapped her, that is possible. Why he shot her and killed her, I'm going to assume that's because whatever he wanted to do, the girl fought back. She didn't want him to do, and he ended her life. He was either trying to sell her, force her to go into the sex trade, or he might have been trying to personally sexually violate this girl himself. And I'm not so sure with all that time with that girl being missing that he didn't force himself on her. He just looked like he got this dude right here. This dude just got one of those no doesn't mean no faces. And don't let nobody tell y'all have heard that before. I made that up myself. No don't mean no. I made that up. A no don't mean no rapist face looking ass boy right here. Put something in your drink, cocktail having ass boy. Date rape looking ass. I'm sure what he was trying to do was cover up the evidence, and why it took so long for anybody to find her is beyond me. But again, it's a very dangerous thing for these teenage girls to feel like they need to run away. But us as parents, the responsibility still needs to fall on us. We got to make sure that we don't make our children feel like they need to run away, to make them feel that uncomfortable, to make them feel that unloved, that unappreciated. Children should be seen and not heard. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Children should be seen, should be taken care of, should be appreciated, should have attention paid to them, maximum attention. And they should be heard. They have thoughts, they have feelings, they have goals, they have dreams, they have thoughts, they have questions, they have curiosities. It is our responsibility as parents to make sure that we can have those conversations with them, and you have to develop that relationship with them from the moment that they are born. This is why having children is not an easy thing, which is why not everybody should be parents just because you wanted a baby or because you wanted to have benefits from that baby that you could collect from them, which is what we call babies for benefits. We believe that all babies' lives matter, but babies' lives should be had with a purpose. It takes a lot of work. It takes a village, literally. Mom, father, cousins, parents, aunties, grandparents, family, friends, good teachers, great babysitters. It takes a lot of work, and it takes us doing it together. This girl was failed at the root, at the source. Her mom and dad. That's where the failure started. She became a victim of somebody who took advantage of this girl. That Luis Rodriguez, 25 years old, this fool, there's a special place in hell for what we believe that he did to this girl. And I just hope that we can actually find out details so that way they can really, really stick it up where the sun don't shine. I hope he get everything that he deserves in prison for doing what he did to that baby. That baby couldn't defend herself. She had a voice. She used that voice. She had an opinion. Her thoughts and her voice mattered. And I believe that he was trying to silence her voice. So let me say this. Let me pull up my favorite picture of her. More or less this one, because she looks like a young girl that could have grown up to become anything. So baby Lily, young princess, R.I.P. DJ Just Jay, and thank you guys so much for listening with an open mind and an open heart. I know a lot of the stuff that I say is difficult to absorb, but all I'm asking you guys to do is just see the value in the things that we're given as far as facts, and we got to make a change for our children.